You could have $300,000 sitting in the bank right now. And still retire broke. Not because you didn't save enough. Because nobody told you what money is actually for. And the people who figured this out? They didn't earn more than you. They just stopped making one quiet mistake, the one almost everyone makes. Here's the thing about $300,000. It feels like a finish line. You hit that number and you think, okay, I made it. I'm safe now. But for a lot of people, that number just sits there. It sits in a savings account earning almost nothing. Or it's locked in a house that's worth a lot but pays you zero. Or it's spread across random accounts nobody's actually managing. And the scary part? This isn't a rare story. This is the story of millions of people who did everything right and still feel stuck. So today, we're going to walk through how $300,000 actually becomes $2 million. Not with luck. Not with some crypto gamble. With a handful of decisions almost nobody explains clearly. Let's start with the mistake almost everyone makes first. They save the money and then they protect it to death. It goes into a savings account earning 0.5%. Meanwhile, inflation is quietly eating it alive. You've felt this already, haven't you? Milk costs more. Rent costs more. Gas costs more. But your $300,000? It's earning basically nothing. So in real terms, it's shrinking. Every single year. But here's where it gets worse. The longer that money sits safe, the more time you lose. And time is the one thing you can never buy back. This is the first trap, mistaking safe for smart. They are not the same thing. So what actually turns $300,000 into $2 million? It's not a stock tip. It's not a side hustle. It's something called compound growth, and it's almost boring how simple it is. If $300,000 grows at just 8% a year, the historical average for a diversified stock market portfolio, it doesn't just grow steadily. It grows faster and faster the longer you leave it alone. By year 10, you're near $650,000. By year 20, you're past $1.4 million. By year 25, you're at $2 million. No lottery. Number 90-hour work weeks. Just time, doing what time does. And this is the part nobody talks about. The people who reach $2 million usually aren't the highest earners. They're the ones who stopped interrupting their own growth. Think about two people, both starting with the exact same $300,000. Same income. Same job. Same starting line. One of them checks their account every single day, moves money around, tries to time things perfectly. The other one sets it up once, and basically forgets about it. 20 years later, the forgetful one is almost always ahead. Not by a little. Sometimes by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because every time you move money out of fear, you're not avoiding risk. You're paying a tax made entirely of lost time. Now here's where most people accidentally destroy this. They panic. The market dips 15%. The news gets scary. And they pull their money out just to be safe. That sounds smart until you see what happens next. Because that one decision, pulling out during a dip, is usually what erases a decade of growth. You don't lose money by the market dropping. You lose money by reacting to the market dropping. And here's the twist most people never see coming. The real threat to your $300,000 was never inflation. It was never a bad economy. The real problem was your own finger, hovering over that sell button. The system isn't rigged against you. You are your own biggest risk, not because you're careless, but because nobody taught you that doing nothing is often the smartest move you can make. But there's another leak most people never notice. Fees. A lot of people invest through accounts quietly charging 1%, sometimes 2% a year in fees. That sounds tiny. It isn't. Over 25 years, the difference between a 0.1% fee and a 1.5% fee can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not because the fund did anything wrong. Just math, quietly working against you the entire time. So before we go further, that's lesson number 3. It's not just about growing your money. It's about not leaking it. If you're still watching, this next part changes everything. The people who actually hit $2 million don't rely on willpower. They remove the decision entirely. They set up automatic contributions, money moves before they even see it. They diversify, spreading that $300,000 across index funds, not one risky bet. And they ignore the noise. No panic selling. No chasing that next big thing. But that's not even the worst part of ignoring this. The average investor, because of emotional decisions like panic selling, actually earns less than the market itself averages over time. Not because the market failed them. Because they failed to leave it alone. Here's what that actually looks like in real life. Instead of checking your account every day, you check it twice a year. Instead of trying to pick the next big stock, you own a small slice of the entire market, thousands of companies at once. So when one company struggles, it barely matters. The whole basket keeps moving forward. That's not boring. That's protection. And this is where most people get trapped completely. They see someone else's get-rich-quick story online and abandon their own plan. They jump from crypto to stocks to some new trend every single year. Every jump resets the clock. Every panic costs years. The $2 million outcome isn't reserved for people with special knowledge. It's reserved for people who pick a boring plan and actually stick with it. The $2 million outcome isn't reserved for people with special knowledge. It's reserved for people who pick a boring plan and actually stick with it. You've heard that story before. Slow and steady wins the race. Turns out, it wasn't just a kid's story. It's literally how wealth gets built. So here's what this really comes down to. $300,000 doesn't become $2 million because you're lucky. It becomes $2 million because you stop interrupting it. Step 1. Get that money out of a stagnant savings account and into a diversified, low-cost investment plan. Step 2. Automate it, and then leave it alone. Even when it's scary. Especially when it's scary. Because the truth is, you already have what you need. You don't need more money. You need more patience. The people who win with money aren't the smartest people in the room. They're just the ones who were still standing there when everyone else walked away.